for more on this, I'm joined by Misty Lee Hegnes. She's an associate professor of public affairs and economics at the University of Kansas. I really appreciate you taking the time this morning to speak to us. And you are, we should also mention, the author of a book called Swiftonomics: How Women Mastermind and Redefine Our Economy. Very pertinent to what we're talking about today, so I wanted to make sure to mention that. So the numbers suggest women are leaving the workforce at triple the rate that men are joining. So looking behind the numbers, what groups are being hit the hardest here?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. The groups that have really, since the beginning of the year, experienced the most decline, particularly mothers of small children under the age of 5, and mothers of small children who are not married have seen the most decrease.
Interesting. Okay, so put it into context for us. What's driving this then?
So there's probably multiple factors driving this change in labor force participation for mothers of small children. I think there's potentially two kind of main factors that are influencing what's going on, the first half of 2025. The first is this large effort on behalf of large employers and the federal government to return to office. It's a little bit more challenging for parents with really small children to be able to combine paid work with caregiving when jobs become or are very inflexible.
Yeah, and so on that, I mean, you've talked about this concept of care privilege, right? The return to office mandates are often made by people who have, someone else handling their domestic responsibilities, so they aren't necessarily as invested. Can you explain how this dynamic's playing out?
Yeah, so the idea behind care privilege is it really is concept that relates to adults in the household, usually prime-age adults, able-bodied, so they can go out and work. Nothing holding them back from that. And these adults usually if you're care privileged, you have somebody else who's taking care of your care needs. So you have somebody else who's cooking your meals for you, somebody else washing your clothes, somebody else taking care of your children. And women disproportionately are much less likely to have care privilege. And so because they have these additional kind of unpaid work, often invisible workloads within the home, it makes it really challenging for them to get out and combine paid labor with that. Now, the folks who are making these decisions around the return to office often tend to have lots of care privilege. So they tend to not recognize the invisible work and other challenges that caregivers have in combining paid work with family caregiving.
Right. And then, we have the return to work. Then another legacy of the pandemic was a lot of the federal child care funding tied to the pandemic has run out, and that's especially impacting lower income voters. So you have less flexible schedules. You have this, fewer, more expensive child care options, huge cuts in government jobs as well, which seem to impact women disproportionately. Sounds like a perfect storm, basically, for working moms.
Yeah, it really is. And I think it's worthwhile to really think about the role of government and federal policy in all of this. It's true that there have been cuts to childcare funding. It's making childcare really, really challenging to find and to afford. And I think that, combined with the slashing and reduction of the federal workforce the first quarter of 2025, women tend to often forego salary in exchange for benefits that create flexible jobs, like choosing when, what time you start work in the day, what time you stop, choosing whether you work remotely or in the office. And federal government jobs tend to have more flexibility and more benefits in them. And so this reduction of federal employment most likely disproportionately affected mothers.
Yeah. You've, I mean, literally written a book about the role women play in the economy. So what does it cost the country when women leave the workforce?
Yeah, so similar to the way in which unpaid work and care that we do in our homes for our families is often invisible, that translates into an invisibility and understanding the impact that these type of reductions in accessibility of the workforce have. And so when you have individuals who aren't able to really maximize their talent and their skill set and be productive in the workforce, you're really stifling economic growth, GDP, and these are all factors that these are issues that influence not only individuals but the entire economy and society.
Yeah, affects all of us, as you say. We'll have to leave it there. Really appreciate having your expertise on this. Missy Lee Higness, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.